Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Gore Call, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives after they put out important news. If you believe in the overwhelming need to reduce the carbon footprint in the manufacturing of all goods that we use every day, then you're going to love this interview with HPQ Silicon, trades in Canada, or HPQ for our friends in the US, HPQFF, because they're a technology company that's specializing in green engineering processes for silica and silicon materials production. And they're making waves in the technology materials industry with their groundbreaking advancement in these green engineering processes, which includes multiple NDAs with leading manufacturers in the fumed silica space. Now, a lot of you might be saying what I was saying, which is, what the hell is fumed silica? Well, it's used, amongst other things, as an anti-caking agent in powdered foods, in cosmetics, and in toothpaste. In 2022, it was a $1.3 billion market, but that's just a small portion of the almost $8 billion market for specialty silica in total, which is expected to go to $13.4 billion by 2030. So why the interest in HPQ Silicon? Amongst many things, they got one major competitive advantage. Their proprietary green engineering process reduces 86% the amount of energy used, leading to significantly reduced carbon taxes, carbon footprint for customers. And what's the press release talking about today? HPQ secures their third Fumed Silica NDA as interest in testing of its commercial grade silica material continues to grow. Welcome back, man. You're on here every week now.
You guys better get used to it. We're entering a completely new era for HPQ. It's an era of it's a paradigm shift toward commercialization and monetization of our technologies. It's going to get even more exciting than it is now. Really, really. I know I look like I'm not excited, but I can't believe how excited I am internally.
Well, this is NDA number 3 in 2023, and I shouldn't even say 2023 because you really didn't get the fumed silica side really rolling until the start of the summer, basically.
Yeah.
So when you say interest continues to grow, I think that's almost an understatement, because this is company number 3, and we know that the others were leading fumed silica manufacturers. So is it going even faster than you expected, Bernard?
It actually meets what I kept saying, which is, if we make a commercial grade fumed silica material, demand from industry player or interest from industry player would come. Now, the way it works is we don't send our material to anybody unless there's an NDA. You know, and it's something I've learned through the years of doing this business, is that interest in what you do will happen once you start communicating what you're doing, and then interest goes to a different level, different speed once you start producing. We lived that experience a bit in HPQ when we were starting in the silicone for battery space, where just on spec we were getting demand. And at that moment, we made the error of probably over communicating about this. But this time around, we waited until we made sample, and that strategy is paying off in speed. Really, it really is, because naturally, the first person that we signed to was the first one that got very interested in what we were doing when we were just talking about what we were doing. But now we're doing it, and now we have a pathways toward commercialization, monetization, the process. So that's fantastic, and it really strengthened our belief of where we are and how we have a good thing.
And to put it in perspective, July 27th, you announced that you were just ready to send samples. That's it. August 24th, your first samples went out to a third party. September 14th, an NDA with a leading fumed silica manufacturer. Here we are, number 3, in essentially the middle of October. We've talked in the past about not the identity of, but how you would categorize the first 2, and they're very big industry players. I want to ask you about number 3, but I want to be careful, because when I read this press release, the one thing that was different was one of your footnotes. To maintain confidentiality for competitive reasons in the industry, and in accordance with the explicit request of one of the signatories of the NDA, we are unable to disclose the identity of the involved party, nor make any reference that may allow his identification. So I want to ask you about number 3, but with that in mind, and it seems like you're a little more restricted as to what you can say, but what can you tell us?
Well, because they were number 3, I had more leeway to negotiate because their original position were no, you cannot even discuss, and that happens. There are companies we've signed NDA with where they put, very, very strong disclaimer. They can sue you for millions of dollars if your name ever leaked. It does happen, and we've signed some of those type of NDAs. And basically, they sent me their condition. I said, well, you want my samples? I got to be able to talk about it. So, we ping ponged a little while, and we came up with this sort of an agreement where, okay, you can say you signed a third NDA, but just making sure nobody can have a clue where we are. Okay. But that was interesting because it demonstrated that I had some negotiation power. It demonstrated that our material.
And in the first two, sample receiver number 1, sample receiver number 2, just remind us, but those were major players, right? In the industry.
Well, yes, but okay, let's go through the logic. Number 1 didn't ask for permission, did it. They were not overly happy, but they said, you didn't name us. There's no way really to figure out where else. We're okay with this. And now they've tested the material. That's no more part of the subject. Number 2 accepted our typical clause, which we're allowed to issue a press release on it. So, and number 3 said no. So it was interesting. We had the entire bandwidth of what could happen.
Would you still consider them? Could we still even describe them as a major player, or do you have to even stay away from that? So for all we know,
it becomes irrelevant. It becomes irrelevant. It is a party that could, like all the other ones, be interested in multiple type of transaction. It could be so. That's just what it is. It's for me, it's just validation number 3 in a short amount of time ever since we've said this. And yeah, it's I see for the first time ever, I see a very quicker pathways to commercialization with a partnership with somebody that has significant footprint in the fumed silica industry that's going to be very interested. But what's interesting is, whomever the party we talk to, they have footprint in the fumed silica, precipitated silica, fused silica markets. So they're all in the specialty silica market. And what HPQ through its subsidiary HPQ Silicon Polvere has is a one-step process to take quartz and make those materials. And the environmental benefits surrounding this, the cost advantage, the structure advantage are so large that somebody's going to come and dance. Somebody's going to come and ask me out. We're dancing.
That's not going to be me. That's for sure. Just I want to be clear about that.
No, but you're not rich enough. You're not rich enough for me.
Which one of those advantages, Bernard, or maybe they're all equal? What's the reason? Like I said at the beginning, you weren't even ready to send samples till July 27th, and then just bang, bang, bang. So there's obviously something very positive going on. All shareholders are happy about this. Is there a particular competitive advantage? Because we've talked about a couple of them. Your less energy, lower carbon footprint. Is there a particular advantage or is it just cost? Maybe that's the biggest one of all, because margins are so tight now. The world economy is getting tighter with higher interest rates. Corporations getting squeezed on their balance sheets. What do you think stands out in terms of the biggest advantage that's driving these agreements with you?
Well, the first biggest advantage is we're making a material that's commercial quality. So, as I said in my quote, I said, we're getting preliminary results. I joked that, if it was shit, they would have told us. But, the counterpart of this is if it's not shit, they've told us. But, that's not something we can, we're covered on NDA, and that's limited. So we have to wait for our own test results. So in this specific case, I was probably quicker to the gun to send the samples to the third party, knowing that we would do our own analysis. And now we'll be able to come up, publicly with our own detailed, material scope, and that's gonna be able to bring it up to another level, because we're gonna say these are the scope. This is our product range to start off with, and we can talk about other things we can do, and we can start negotiation with parties interested in this. We have a group some groups in Asia that are already interested, also non-China Asia, but interested in selling our product and moving this issue. This is what's changed. This is what I'm saying. It's really a paradigm shift. It's still an R&D project, because there's still one last milestone to resolve. Okay, that milestone is scalability. Okay, which is its scalability. But from where I sit, from where I understand the technology, from where we've gone through the entire gauntlet of doing this for the QRR, okay, I'm saying, like, okay, this is not an unobtainable hurdle. And the reason behind it, the QRR was a 2,500% scaling up. This one is not going to be a 2,500% scaling up. This one is done exactly what we need within the spec, so we know the machine is going to work. It's not a Hail Mary's pass. And we're being much more cautious how we do it, because we just need to be able to make the stuff, and we're going to be so cheap, and we're going to have such a green label to our material. It's a time when everybody's talking about re-engineering, reshoring, green engineering. We mean like all the check mark, put them one to the other. But this didn't become a reality until, as you said, in July, when we said we had sample ready to send. We had some preliminary feedback. We're telling us, yeah, the material looks very, very good. Because fundamentally, we reached the milestone we were supposed to reach in the pilot plant program at lab scale. So this is why now it's going to be more discussion about commercialization.
I want to refer to your quote. While success, and this just, I'm reading between the lines, but I think there's a reason why you make these quotes. While success is never guaranteed, the preliminary feedback and ongoing discussions offer the promise of potential commercial partnerships with our HPQ Polvere venture, including commercial scale offtake agreements and/or technology adoption. I know you've used that language in the past, but combined with what you said earlier, it sounds like you're already getting positive feedback from one or two of the initial receivers of samples. And I don't know if you can be specific about that, but that seems like you're giving off a strong message there that you don't really have much in terms of hurdles left. Am I overstating that?
Well, I'm going to sort of like reverse a bit your answer. Is fundamentally, I think the message I am getting from at least the first party, which was the first one that received the material, which by default we send them the best stuff. Like when we do batch scale, it's sorry, but first comes first gets the best, the other one gets the okay one. Not that we're any worried. We know we're going to be able to repeat, what we sent when we sent to the first one, but it's just to whet their appetite to the two other ones. Basically, keep them in the wings in a certain way without keeping them in the wings. If they want to come and dance with us, they'll come and dance with us. But the first one, we sent it this, we had discussion. And fundamentally, their key point is validation. Commercial scale validation is the last check mark they need to check. And that's where we're sort of starting our discussion, our pre-dancing about what's next, what we can do next. And that's a very comfortable position to be in, okay, for HPQ. At one point, HPQ has so many things.
When do you expect that milestone to take place? Ballpark. I know you're never going to give an exact date,
as I said in the press release, we're looking at having the pilot plant ready to work Q1, Q2 of next year. So that's gonna start working there, because we've learned a lot from the QRR, so we got that part pretty much down. And it's just going to be able to repeat being able to produce consistently the material that we've done so far. That's all we need to do.
So then here's the question I want to ask you. So you said by Q1, Q2, you should be you should be ready to scale, right? So we'll leave it at that. We know you can't, but it sounds like you'll be scaling into an even bigger addressable market, because this is the first time we saw where there's a subheading there said fumed silica reactor process unveils potential beyond fumed silica alone, opening up potentially a 3 times bigger addressable market. Talk to us about that, because obviously that's even better news for everybody potentially.
Well, what happened is fumed silica is the highest quality product there's out there, and it's used mostly in cosmetic, medical, food. So that's where so you need higher purity material. In other application where it's used in tires and all those type of issues, you use more of a precipitated silica, which is cheaper to do, but still done through chemical processes. We can do, based on preliminary results, we can do precipitated silica, fumed silica, fused silica, not at the same time, but with the same equipment. So that triples the potential market, that triples the interest for our technologies from our partners. But what we did, we said, okay, our first milestone was making fumed silica. We've done commercial grade fumed silica. We've gotten feedback from the industry that yes, we've made commercial grade fumed silica. And we've gotten feedback that says, yes, we'd like to see, is there a way to work together? So that's why, although the validation would occur, there might be prior to that, there might be some interesting things that come out of our discussions, whichever of the 3 parties.
All right, that's quite the teaser, and I would try and ask you more, but A, I know you won't tell me, and B, sounds like these NDAs are pretty tight. So last thing I want to do is get in the way of your discussions with everybody and give way to your strategies. But it's not like it's stopping here. The other quote I want to read from the press release is, as our process gains more visibility, we expect continued interest in fumed silica production technology and our specialist silica materials. So silica materials potential. So it sounds like you're expecting this commercial interest to keep. Should we be expecting more NDAs and more of these kind of announcements? Sounds like you're pretty confident that's going to be happening.
Well, there's going to be, I believe there'll be more announcement, there'll be more discussion moving forward. This is where we are going with this project, which is going to be, by the end of next year, I want to start. It's not going to be a big selling, but it's going to be, we're going to start to enter. Like if you take a look, the entire Canadian market for fumed silica is 50,000 metric ton a year. So it's not a massive market. The issue where we have really a big advantage, and this is where I want to play out part of our business strategy, is to design really perfectly tailored for an end buyer strategy. And this is where we fit in. We don't need to get the massive scale advantage. We just need to have our system working close. And as I've mentioned to you, fumed silica is a very light product. So by being a light product, it's basically very expensive to ship, not because it's heavy, but because it takes a lot of volume. So, and I think this is where we have an advantage.
This further cements the fact that fumed silica seems to have, in this great racehorse of the HPQ verticals, that fumed silica seems to have now pulled ahead. And thank goodness you announced your silicon pour for the QRR side. Otherwise, we'd have more people worrying about, this means that QRR has failed and Bernard's going in a different direction. So we know that's not the case. So now can you comfortably talk even more maybe about that, Bernard, that it seems like all the legs are going great, but fumed silica seems like to have really pulled in the lead in terms of potential, the one to potentially finish the race first for commercialization.
Yeah, well, it sort of was becoming sort of an interesting situation. So much focus was made on the silicone pour, all right, that it's, in my mind, it was those events I knew we would have, but once you have it, it's sort of like, it's a buy on rumor, sell on the news. That would be that type of an event. But at the same time, everything that we were doing on the fumed silica side seemed to be a strategy, or was perceived by some investor, or some non-investors that like to talk a lot, you choose, was perceived as a switching game. You change the subject. The reality is
Switch.
Switch one to two to, you try to hide it there, try to hide it nowhere. We've been very adamant about our 3 initiative, okay, which is silicone, fumed silica, hydrogen, right? Silicone 1 is 2 division, which is making the metallurgic grade better quality, and then silicone for anode for battery materials. Now, within every one of those divisions, we may, play around a bit of the target, but the big picture of that hasn't changed. Fumed silica, I always believed that this could be a big one, but until I had samples that said commercial grade material, I didn't have it. So sometimes it's very binary what we do. Okay, until you have it, you don't have it. But now we have it, and as I've said, it's coming to fruition that people are interested in talking with us about this. So it's sort of logical that I will talk more about fumed silica because it's the first one that we're going to be commercially, we will be making some commercialization. But within the next time frame, a very short time frame, then we'll start talking more about silicone anode battery materials, and we'll be talking about hydrogen solution. We will go back talking about fumed silica, precipitated silica. We have, out of weirdness, I've always hoped to being able to have a strategy where that multiple situations that would come in at different timelines, so there'd be no lag.
Sure.
It didn't work out that way. There was massive lag for all of them, and they're now all coming. They're all coming to commercialization at the same time. So I can understand that it gets to be a bit confusing and frustrating, and people are saying, "Well, if there's such a great technology, why are you not getting bought off yet?" You don't get bought off on the first thing. People are going to make the checks. They're going to want to, kick the tires, make sure what you're saying is true.
Of course.
And in the fumed silica part, that is this. In the silicone part, it's going to be silicone anode material for batteries. Then once we start producing those materials, then it's going to be the one that move. And the hydrogen ones, once we're going to have an operating system that does it. But these are all things that are happening in the next, we're in Q4 2023. Okay. I'm basically saying that my belief is by the time we validate this technology, we will have a commercialization even before. And that's going to happen in Q1, Q2. It's going to start in Q2 2024 and finish in Q3 because it's not very long. We've experienced
we're right there. And it doesn't seem like you're overly concerned about it. It seems like now it's just you just got to let it play out. You're not.
Well,
it seems like
I've gone through it for the QRR.
Remember we used to talk about mitigating risk, and we keep mitigating risk and mitigate. It seems like we're well past that now. The taking risk off the table, mitigating risk seems to be over. I think it seems like that phase is over, and now we're in the phase of increasing. So we're mitigating risk. Now we're increases our probabilities for commercialization.
Yeah, but what happened?
Would it be fair to say that?
Yeah, no, it's fair to say that. But when we were at the beginning of de-risking our project, okay, market dynamics were based on money was free forever, right? So that was one dynamic that was going. So that played into it. Now we're in a different dynamic where money is going to become more expensive for longer. So the technologies that are going to succeed are those that do not demand massive capital outlay to get into production. Yeah. Checkmark HPQ. Second of all, they're going to be technologies that are going to bring about an immediate bottom line effect to whomever ends up using them. Checkmark HPQ. Third one, is going to help improve the environmental image of the manufacturer. Checkmark HPQ. Third one, reduce environmental taxes related to manufacturing. Checkmark HPQ. We are incredibly well positioned. The market at one point will wake up to that reality.
I think it's waking up now. We're just in a bit of a difficult time for the small caps, where they're starting to separate the pretenders from the real companies. But I remind everybody again, I remember back in the mid 90s, I had a very good friend of mine saying, George, buy Apple. I think it might have been early 90s. Buy Apple at $8 a share because Microsoft has to support them. Otherwise, they can have a monopoly and then the government will break them apart. And a lot of people didn't realize the fact. Now, no, none of us saw that would be several $1,000s after taking stock puts into account. But the fact of the matter is, when you're in paradigm shifting mode, it just takes longer for the market to figure it out because they really need to know that before they let go of the safety of the status quo, they really, 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 really need to see that you've made that paradigm shift. So I just want to add that in as a little additional color to what you were saying about the market catching up. But on that note, I don't think it's going to take long. It seems like now, all kidding aside, you're just in full flow on all three legs. So, last night I got the call again. Hey, George, gonna need you tomorrow. So are we gonna have you back? I mean, it's what, Tuesday now? Is it Tuesday? Or is it Wednesday?
Wednesday.
The days fly. It's Wednesday now. So there's a coin flip as to whether I'm going to see you before the end of the week. But it seems will we be back next week? You think?
I can't see anything.
I'm trying to read your body language. I'm trying to do a little poker right here. See if I can read your body. But you know what? You're a statue. You're a statue, and your Zoom froze. All right, buddy. Thanks, man. Congratulations again. I mean, this. I can't believe how fast Fumed Silica is moving, given the fact July 27th, you said you're ready for samples, and then from Greece, from Paros, I was sitting there doing that interview with you with the beach behind me about the first samples going out, and here we are, number 3, and it's we're not even past mid-October. So I think I speak on behalf of everybody. I see the excitement online. I see the social media interactions where people are really happy and they're really, really looking forward to what's next. So good luck to you, buddy. You have everybody's support, except for a few fundsters who are paid to do whatever they got to do. 99.5% of the rest of us, you got our full support, and thanks for bringing us this far, man.
Thank you.
Anybody at home, you've been watching or you've been listening by podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, or your favorite podcast platform. To Bernard Tudillon, he's the CEO at HPQ Silicon, trades in Canada at HPQ. For our friends in the US, HPQFF. Start your due diligence on Agoracom on the profile page because, man, this is a specialty green engineering processes for multiple silicon materials. You're going to get all that from the Agoracom site on their profile page. So get that from there before you go onto the company's website to do deep dive due diligence. And look for Bernard, right? Sometime imminently, next couple of days, something like that, you expect to get the new deck coming out, right? So hopefully we'll see the new deck as well.
Yep.
Right. So get that deck. Have a great day. See you next time. Hey guys, the video's over, but don't forget to help your company by liking it and even leaving a comment below. And then don't forget to help yourself by subscribing to our YouTube channel so you never miss another great Agoracom small cap video.